What's up, everybody? Welcome to the morning movie chat. I hope you're all having a very good day today. Here we are already on Monday. By this time next week, we will be into March. Kind of crazy to think about if you think about it. But thank you all so much for being here. If you are here, make sure that you hit that like button. I know. It sucks for me having to say that constantly, but the thing is like, little do people tell you. In case you don't know, everybody works towards getting monetized here on YouTube. The thing they don't tell you is once you become monetized on YouTube, you actually have people like I have in my house right now, standing right here off camera, that are sitting there shaking their finger at you, telling you that you better tell people to hit the like button when you're doing your live streams. I'm telling you, there's like only when you're live streaming. In the videos, they expect it. Otherwise, they block them and demonetize them. I'm serious. This is like the tricks of the trade, the things they don't tell you. See, and that's the thing is they can't make that video. You know, you go to video influencers, you go to all of these other people who you know who the other guy is out there. You know, Brian G. Johnson. They don't make the video telling you that you get demonetized if you don't tell them to like your videos and stuff, because you can't make that video. That's the video they don't want you to know about. So I can't even really mention it here. See? You know what I'm saying? I didn't say nothing. Apparently everything I said was all good because it didn't say anything. But oh, you know what? Let's shed a little bit of light on things. There we go. Is that a little bit better? Can y'all see me now? So yeah, I hope you're all having a very good day today. Like I said, make sure that you smash the hell out of that like button. And okay, so who all we got here? We got Fanjecture here. Says clickbait. Stacy's Fast Stacks, thank you for being here. Snowdub says gender check. Yeah, what's up? Stacy's Fast Stacks says hey everyone. Captain Pennsylvania says what's up. Sir Nerd a lot, thank you so much for being here. Chaos and Comics says clickbait title of the year. Fanjecture says is it Myrtle off camera? Maybe. Chaos and Comics, right? No, that's not clickbait. It's not clickbait. Two Brothers Comics, thank you so much for being here. Drum and Company says, am I high or did I read that headline correctly? No. Yeah. That's correct. You read the headline completely correct. Maverick Pilgrim, thank you so much for being here. Terrazon, thank you for being here. Two Gun Pedro, pew pew. Cap says, it's not clickbait if it's true in a different universe, right? Aggressively Relaxing says, dude, Kevin quit? What happened? Oh, Tara says, nah, he ain't quit. Jonathan Velasquez says, good morning. Coming in from the Den of Nerds. Alright, thank you all so much for being here. I hope we talk about games the whole time. Oh man, that's funny. You know, and something I forgot to bring in here. But anyway, guys, I hope you're all having a good day. Like I said, it's Monday. Things kind of slowed down here over the weekend. Normally on Saturday, I do a Saturday comic show here, talking with comics with Chris, who is in the chat here. Chris from Chaos and Comics, and Dylan from Dylan's Comics. We normally get together on Saturdays and do a live stream together. But my daughter's birthday is coming up, so we went to Universal Studios for her birthday this weekend. It was a good time. We had a very good time there. That's what she wanted to do instead of having a party here at the house. But you know what? My wife doesn't want to do it. But you know, I told her I'm still gonna call a couple of my friends and we're just gonna cook out. We're just gonna have a barbecue on Saturday anyway. Not a birthday party or anything, because she didn't want to throw a party. I was like, not a birthday party. They're just gonna come over. Maybe we'll have some beers and maybe we'll barbecue some food. Although I'm not sure beer is keto, but hey, you know, we'll see what we can do. So we'll see what we can do. So anyway, guys, yeah, here we are on Monday, and you know, something I've been talking about here. You know, it's Monday. I want to start your week off right, okay, guys? One thing I've definitely been doing here. It wasn't a New Year's resolution or anything, because I just. You know, here over the last year or so, maybe like the last half of this last year, my training and everything, in case you guys don't know, I'm a cyclist. My training kind of fell off a little bit as I grew the channel and everything. I tried to make a push towards 1,000. So during that time, I spent less time on my bicycle. And so I hadn't been riding as much. And so this year I was like, no, I'm getting back on it because next year I want to get ready to start racing again. It's been a couple years since I've done any racing. In case you guys don't know, about 2 years ago, we're getting close to 2 years to the day. I crashed while I was out riding. I was probably the lightest I had been in my adult life for sure. I think I was coming in right about 170 pounds. My riding fitness was really high. I was doing great. And then on a Saturday afternoon or a Saturday morning ride, we were coming back. Most of our friends had took one route to come home because some of them just had things they had to do. Me and one of my friends, we ended up branching off and going to get a couple extra climbing miles, and just a couple miles on the ride. And as I was making this descent, I was coming out of a turn, and my front wheel washed out from underneath me, and I crashed and I broke my collarbone right there, kind of out in the middle of nowhere. I ended up walking down from the top of the mountain into Green Valley, California. It was pretty messed up, but it was a trying time. 10 days later, I was back on my bicycle. 10 days later, I was back on my bicycle riding again. And then less than a week after that, I had started my Tour de France challenge. What I do every year is I do a challenge where I try to ride half the miles that they do in a Tour de France in the same amount of days, which is 21 days, 23 if you count the rest days. But and pretty much on those rest days, you still go out and ride, at least a small ride. But that's what I try to do. Well, this all happened about a month out from when I was supposed to be starting this. It happened in the middle of, I believe it was June. I believe I crashed on June 16th. Was it June 16th? And so I missed out on, I missed a couple of weeks of riding, but my fitness was actually still pretty good. So then, a couple weeks later, the Tour de France started, and going through that year, I still ended up almost doing. I think I still hit just almost 900 miles, which it ends up being about 1,200 miles to complete the challenge, and I came close. I still came close, but I was still disappointed because I still felt like I could have done it. But you know what? I wasn't so disappointed that I beat myself up about it and or anything like that. And that's part of it. You gotta plan, especially in that situation. I knew that I wasn't gonna be able to do it, but that doesn't mean that I let back on my goals or anything. You gotta make sure you have goals out there, and you gotta make sure when you're going after those goals, plan accordingly. Right? You got to plan accordingly. And and that starts with doing something consistently every single day. And that's what I've been working on here since the new year started, just getting back into that consistency and things like that. You got to know your body. You got to know all of these different kinds of things to really get back into the swing of things. Luckily, I know how to do that. But part of a lot of that comes with having a plan and all of those kinds of things. I've got a book that I go through, and it helps me set up an annual training plan. It's written, it's called the Cyclist Training Bible. And you got to go through and you basically plan your whole year of fitness ahead of time, within a matter of days. And then you got times where you go out and test. And these are all things that you should do. And for me, it's because that's what I do. It's part of my lifestyle, I guess you could say. So these are things that I do. I got to plan it out. And it just makes me think of, you've got to have... this is one of my favorite books. I haven't read this in a while, but probably going to go through and do a reread on this soon. But you got to have, this is John C. Maxwell, one of my favorite writers, your roadmap for success. And that's one of the things you got to do when you're embarking on any kind of a journey, anything that you want to do out there, is you got to have a roadmap. You got to go out and look at different resources and things like that. Find somebody who you like, who speaks to you, and help. How can they help you, and how can you build your own roadmap for success? And that's ultimately what it comes down to, because nobody knows you better than you. Some people need coaches and things like that. Some people don't. I myself don't. I'm a pretty self-motivated individual, so when it comes to those kinds of things, I just need the plan. Help me get to it, and I can get there. But not everybody is like that. Some people do actually need trainers and things like that. Helps them focus, helps them concentrate. I'm sure if I had a trainer, I would probably greatly benefit from some of those kinds of things. Lots of people do it. If you think about it, professional athletes have trainers. They have coaches. They have all these different people in their corner to help them be the best that they can be. So yeah, guys, that's just something I wanted to start the week off with. If you're out there, you got plans, you got something you want to do, make sure that you're well informed, and make sure you go plan, have a roadmap for your success. Know what your goal is. Set little goals along the way so you know that you're making the progress that you want to make. Right? That's how you're getting towards your goal. And just have all these little things, and always have a plan that's flexible. Make sure that you keep your roadmap. You have a destination, and you have the route to get there. But occasionally you may have to take a little detour. Something may happen in your life that you have to detour, but you still work around it to get to your destination. That's the ultimate thing, right? You gotta have that roadmap. and you got to set yourself up for that success. So okay, getting on here into everything. I'll get here into the live chat. Say hello to everybody else here who has joined the chat, and we'll go ahead and get on into today's topics. Okay, German company says still might be high though. I'm a very literate pothead. Fair enough. What? It was a lie? You're a phony. Hey everybody, this guy is a phony. Says aggressively relaxing. Captain Pennsylvania says, can't stay, gotta get my hair done. That's the manliest thing I've said on this chat. Nice. Beer, definitely not keto. Yeah, definitely not. Definitely not. Fanjexer says, you can get away with it as long as you don't sing happy birthday. Then it's just a casual get together. Right. And that's kind of what I was thinking too. I might have some cake. We might have a cake too. Is whiskey keto? I don't think so. I don't think it is. I don't think there's any alcohol that is really. Yeah, I don't think there is. Whiskey is better. Honestly, the beer that I drink, it's right up there with whiskey. I'm telling you, the beer that I drink is really good. It's really good stuff. It's from a local brewery here, in town. Aggressively relaxing says, how am I supposed to believe it wasn't a New Year's resolution? You lie about everything else. Chaos in Comics says, I wish I was a cyclist. I wish I just exercised, says Tara. Nerdy Blurb TV, what is up, my brother? How are you doing this morning, Ryan? I hope you're doing well. James Heaton says, what's up, Trinity? How are you doing this morning? James, thank you for being here. Chaos in Comics says, I'm a cyclist. More clickbait. No, I am. Seriously, I got my bike right here. I could show you. And it's just like the ones it's just like the ones that they ride in the Tour de France. I'm telling you, it's no different. It's the same equipment. Same everything. Like literally, this is the same kind of bike that they ride. This is a Specialized S-Works. This bike is a very expensive bike, and it has the electronic shifting on it. So it has electronic shifting on it, so there's no cables or anything like that. So yeah, it's super lightweight. It's under 15 pounds. I think it's with the pedals and everything, it's over 15 pounds. By the time you put some of the extra equipment on it, but yeah, no, it's super light bike, man. Super light bike. No clickbait here on that. Whiskey actually is keto. Chaos in Comics says, you were on a bike 10 days after you fractured a collarbone. Yes, I was. I was here sitting at the house miserable for 10 days post-surgery. It happened on a Saturday. I went in for surgery on a Tuesday. That night, I came home. I made it through the night, didn't have any painkillers. I was still doped up from all the stuff they gave me there. And then that following night, which would have been a Wednesday night, I took 3 of the painkillers that they gave me just to get sleep through the night, and I didn't take any of the painkillers after that. Because I don't like any of that stuff. Prescription pills, especially like painkillers and stuff like that, I do not like. I don't like them, and I don't like the way they make me feel. So I didn't take any. And yeah, 10 days later, I was back on my bike. I went in for my 1 week post surgery checkup, and they're like, and I asked them a couple questions like, I would advise it, but if you do, just be careful, and if it hurts, don't do it. And I was like, okay. So yeah, I started on my mountain bike. Because I tried to ride my road bike first thing, but there's different positions that different bike sets you in. So I hopped on my mountain bike. I rode that for a couple of days. A couple of days later, I rode my aluminum fixed gear road bike. It's aluminum and it had a flat bar on it, so I was kind of set more upright. Wasn't much pressure on my collarbone. Rode that for a couple of days. Then the couple of days after that, I rode my fixed gear, my chromoly fixed gear fixie bike, and it's basically a fixed gear is where the gear's constantly turning all the time. If the back wheel's turning, the pedals are turning. And I rode that, and it's chromoly, so it absorbs a lot of the shock from the road. And I did that for another couple of days, and it was all good. And then I think by the 8th day or something like that, I was back on my full carbon road bike and things like that. So it went through a progression, but I'm telling you, I was sitting here at the house over that week. My body was hurting, my back was hurting, my neck was hurting, everything was hurting. Everything in my body was hurting. But the second I got back on my bike and started riding again, I felt way better. I did keep wearing a brace around my chest area because I fractured some ribs, and I also fractured my scapula as well. So I had that. So when I was because when I was breathing, like with the fractured scapula, basically it was pushing out in my back. So sometimes I'd get home and I'd lean against the wall, kind of roll it out and things like that. Just try to and try to keep that brace on, so it all healed right. So yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. But yeah, I looked a lot into it. I got a lot online, checked on chat boards, people who broke their collarbones, professional cyclists, and just all the different range of people who went through these kinds of things and their experiences. And I kind of figured, like, you know what, like as much time as I put into writing and all of that stuff, my fitness level and everything, I will consider more what a professional cyclist does and what their program is. And a lot of them are usually back on the bike in days after surgery, but they have better doctors and all that kinds of stuff. But and they also get their stuff fixed that same day, where I had to wait over the weekend. But yeah, I was like, well, if they can do it, I can do it. So yeah, I went ahead and did it. Um, Crepes and pierogies aren't. No, they are not. It was a little red tricycle, so it's not that big a deal. Yeah, I don't know. I hit the ground. I hit the ground going about 20 miles an hour, coming out of a corner. Is there a comic version of that book? Jack always has my back. Of which book? Oh no, no, there's not a comic version of that. There isn't. Although I could write one. Diets are dangerous. Dr. Atkins fell down, hit his head, and passed away. If he had been fat, it would have just been funny. What? You're saying Dwayne Johnson has a trainer? I feel like I've been living a lie. Well, I'm sure he does have a trainer that he works with when he needs to hit specific things. But he's also done enough training and things like that anyway that he knows what to do. I'm sure if he was trying to slim down to a certain weight to get to look a certain way or different things like that, he would probably look to a nutritionist for those different types of things for sure, definitely. But I mean, he's been doing it for long enough that he kind of knows what to do. Like even Ryan Reynolds, and he's not like the most like super fit guy. To me, he's like perfect though because like he's slim, he's muscular, and he could easily add weight or he could probably easily drop weight as well. So he's in like a good range there. But one of Ryan Reynolds' things is he says just work out every day. Just do a workout every day. Keep your body constantly guessing. And that's really what it comes down to. Looky, Tony Horton. The ambassador, thank you so much for being here. Hunter Thompson. Joe's Geek Show. What's up, my brother? How are you doing, Joe's Geek Show? You guys need to go check out Joe's Geek Show. I seen he just dropped a video talking about Venditti's Justice League. I'm pretty sure that's what video that was. I seen Venditti. I didn't get to check it out because I was here getting ready to start the show. No, Trinity. O'Doul's is not good. I'm a beer guy and a whiskey guy. Yeah, I'm right there with you, Chris. We'd probably get along great. I like beer and whiskey. I don't like tequila. I don't I don't mind a Caucasian as well. I do like my Caucasians. They're very good. Uh, Chaos and Comics says nice ass bike. Expensive? Yeah. That bike right there, brand new would probably. It's probably close to like $12,000-$13,000. Yeah, it's pretty expensive. I got lucky though because I bought one bike and it ended up getting warrantied out because there was a kind of some defects with it, and it ended up getting warrantied out, and I got that bike. Okay. Okay. I am True Skills. Thank you so much for being here. Says what do you think about Marvel DC crossover? Like in the comic book, it may happen. I know that there's a big rumor going on out there around, that Marvel could buy DC and all that stuff. I honestly don't think that that's going to happen because that's going to fall under the same thing that they had to do, that Disney had to do when they bought the Fox and all that stuff. The government's going to have to intervene and look at it and be like, hey, does this like create a monopoly? And things like that, which it really doesn't, because there's plenty of independent creators and comic book studios and things like that out there. But as far as a Marvel DC crossover, if we're talking about movies, no, please don't. But if we're talking about the comic books, like what we've seen in Thor issue #2 and some of that stuff, hey, let's do it. Let's give it a shot. Although Marvel needs to get their stuff a little bit together over there, I'm sure DC probably does as well. Yeah, it's pretty expensive. Damn, I thought my 4G Cannondale was a lot. Yeah, no, yeah. Like I said, that bike that I have right there, that is a bike like, I mean, that is like the exact bike that the pros ride at the tour. Well, not now because this one's a handful of years old. This one's a, what is it? I think it's a 2016. I think it's a 2016 S-Works. So it's a few years old. But yeah, I mean, it's like the same equipment that they ride there. Yeah, it'd be no different. But now, okay, so here I want to talk about, let's go ahead and get into today's topics, okay? I've been seeing a lot of these things come up lately. The one thing I want to take right off the top is, recently I even seen Mad Max was talking about, but I've seen other people doing the same thing, talking about Spider-Man to be gay in an upcoming film. They were talking about Andrew Garfield in some interview that he did, and they were talking about Tom Holland in this interview that he did, that Spider-Man could be gay in an upcoming film. Have you guys heard this? Have you guys heard about this? Have you seen this? Have you heard about this? Here's the thing is, most of these stories are resurfacing on clickbait websites and clickbait, maybe YouTube content creators, which that we all play into that, right? Isn't that how I got you here with that provocative thumb and that provocative title? Kevin Feige getting a big old smoochie right on the side of his face from Robert Downey Jr. There's these rumors going around again that Spider-Man, that Tom Holland had said in this interview that he could see Spider-Man being gay and all this stuff. And guys, I read this. I think I read this. This interview came from like a UK publication like last year sometime. And AFK Bard, thank you so much. Sends in a $2 super chat. Says, "Live peace and prosper." Isn't that how they say that? Here the thing is there was an interview. I can't remember who it was. It was a UK publication. I can't remember. It was like the Sunday Times or something like that. Was interviewing Tom Holland, where he said this like the thing is it's kind of taken out of context because it's very specific to the question that was asked of him. I remember reading this a year ago. I'm not gonna go back and read the article or anything like that. All I can tell you is all this news going around there. It's bullcrap. Tom Holland never. I mean, he said that, but the question that he was asked was pretty much, could you ever see Spider-Man being gay, a movie being made where Spider-Man is gay? And the logical answer to that for anybody to answer is yes, absolutely. I could see that and imagining that happening. That's the only logical answer to that question. But it was the way the question was framed and everything. He's like, oh yeah, I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, yeah, it could happen. You know what I mean? It could happen. And of course, this comes at a time when Tom Holland has recently come out and said that in an interview that he's finally got all the information with what's going down with the Sony and Marvel Studios and as far as the Spider-Man character is concerned, and he's getting used to all these interviews. This comes at the same time, so people are going to start crossing the lines here and everything. And guys, it's fake, okay? This is fake news. It was from an interview that's been, well, I don't know, maybe about a year ago that he was doing. But this newspaper asked him a very specific question. He never said that he never said that Spider-Man's going to be gay or anything like that. He said that he could be. And absolutely 100% the logical answer to the question he was asked was, he could be. We don't know. It could happen. Should it happen? Probably not. Just put Iceman in there, right? Never mind. You'd have to. It's a comic thing, I guess. They didn't do that in the Fox X-Men universe. But this whole stuff is getting ready is coming out again. And as the MCU gets ready to ramp up here into this next phase with Black Widow getting ready to kick off phase number 4. And we're getting announcements about Captain Marvel coming up. We're probably going to start hearing about the Blade movie soon. We're probably going to start soon hearing about the new Black Panther movie. We're going to be getting more information on this. As we can already see, we're getting more information about the Disney Plus series and all these different shows coming up. We're going to be getting updates on this. And this whole thing, guys, like, it's fake. Some of these things were never said. So yeah, that's ultimately all it comes down to. But the thing is I mean, when it comes down to it, Sony can do whatever they want with the Spider-Man character. It's their character, and they can do a whole lot of things with it. AFK Bard sends a $5 super chat. Says Spider-Man is BFF with Johnny Storm. Let's get some sexy time. You're right. You're right though. That's very true. That is very true. maybe this is how the Fantastic Four get introduced into the MCU. Dang, AFK Bard, you just gave me a great clickbait video to make. Thank you. Thank you. You heard it right here first, guys. Myrtle's going to be covering this later. Oh, man. I like it. But anyway, the thing is the possibilities, yes, that they're there. But Tom Holland really never said those things. Andrew Garfield, I didn't look into what that interview that he did was. I didn't. Oh, yeah, well, whoops. I didn't look into that interview, but. The thing is like Sony can do whatever they want to with this character. It's their character. They own this universe. They can do whatever they want. Do they have plans outside of what they're doing in the MCU? Probably so. I would imagine that they do because this is their character and they've got to plan accordingly anyway. They've got to continue forward with this character and the universe they're building around it, with the Venomverse, with Morbius and all of these things. They've got to continue forward, full steam ahead no matter what. They've got to continue going through with their movie universe saying, basically, like Kevin Feige would do with them, say, like, screw what's going on. Like, we gotta focus on the future, on what we're doing. And if he decides that if we can work out a deal where we can all work together and get everything involved, then we'll do that, and we can kind of change plans up a little bit along the way. But for the most part, they have to continue carrying on with these characters and doing what they want. And here's the thing: when it comes to Spider-Man in the MCU. This character, he's so loosely connected to the MCU. If you go through and watch these movies, look at the first one. Most of the events of the first one are not even really mentioned in any other movies barely mentioned any movies outside of the Spider-Man movies. Really, from the first movie, the only crossover that we really get is Tony Stark. And the fact that that we met and Aunt May, and the fact that we met Aunt May in Civil War. That's like the loosest connections. That's really the biggest connection is right there. By the time you get to Far From Home, okay, you got Nick Fury, you've got Maria Hill there, you've got Happy Hogan. That's really about it. Again, it comes down to a Tony Stark connection. That's really about it. So, like Spider-Man itself, these movies, Homecoming and Far From Home, they're barely connected to the MCU as it is. I mean, like, literally, if you think about it, they're barely connected at all. And I think they've kind of done that in a way so where they can exist on their own, with or without each other. You know what I mean? I think when they came and made these movies, they did a very smart play in that regard in setting things up the way that they have for the Spider-Man universe thus far, because like I said, these Spider-Man movies are very, very loosely connected to the MCU. But and I'm sure Sony, I'm sure that at Sony they've got plenty of plans to go forward. A lot of people don't trust Sony with their Spider-Man films and stuff like this. This is absolutely ridiculous. I think a lot of this is MCU stands, honestly, because really the only actual bad thing that Sony has done with Spider-Man was Amazing Spider-Man 2. Because Spider-Man 3, while it wasn't great, it still wasn't super terrible. I wouldn't consider it Amazing Spider-Man 2. But in Amazing Spider-Man 2, they still had the best on-screen Spider-Man suit that we've had, the most comic accurate. They did have that. It had that going for it. So anyway, okay, let's see. Let's see. Superior Hero Reviews. Thank you for being here. Sylvester M. What's up, my brother? How are you doing? Brian Lawrence says, never mind. Back to comics. Oh. Let's see. What brand just tuned in? Okay. Chaos and Comics says, if Mary Jane turned out to have a PP, it'd make me question my sexuality. Oh, Chaos and Comics, you're funny, Chris. That's funny. Some comic book hunter says, good morning. How are you doing? Fanjextra says, no, I'm here for bike recommendations. Specialize. Go Specialize. Get Carbon. Go Carbon, bruh. Not everything has to be gay. No, it doesn't. But, what's wrong with happy? See what I did there? That's really, you know what I'm talking about. Live, peace, and prosper. Try love, long live, yes, long live and prosper. Need to leave it alone. Yeah, I was gonna say, and I agree. If they do that, they have other characters that represent these different things out there that they can do, that they can bring into these universes that already meet those, that already check those boxes. They have the characters out there already. They don't have to change, which is ultimately what a lot of the comic books were going through a while back, is changing classic characters in things like that, like what they've done with Iceman. Just use the other characters that you already have. Aggressively Relaxing says, could the fictional character Myrtle turn out to be gay Trinity, or is your heart filled with hate? That's a very good question. I never really thought about that, Aggressively Relaxing, but you're right. That could just be the pent up aggression that he has. You know what I mean? Like, and he wants to. You're right, Aggressively. Hell, I never even thought about that. I'm gonna. Oh, all right. I guess make sure you hit that like button and stuff, and make sure that if you see the commercials, if ads pop up, make sure you watch them. If you don't have to send super chats and all that stuff, just watch the ads. It's all good. It's all good. Just watch those ads. It's all good. It helps. Watching ads is like super chatting. It's the same thing as super chatting. Aggressively Relaxing. Myrtle is fictional. Well, I don't know. Yes and no. Remember that cartoon with Iceman and Spider-Man? They could be. Yeah, could be. It's like Superman fanjecture. Is Myrtle the real identity, or is Trinity? Makes you think. It makes you think, doesn't it? Drum and Company says, gotta go, guys. Keep up the good work, Trinity. Thank you very much. You have a good day, Drum and Company. It is very odd that Trinity is never around when Myrtle is. Yeah, we've never been seen at the same place at the same time. Fantastic Foursome, over the top, unexplained gay Spider-Man really would be super entertaining. It would probably be in my top 10 movie going experiences. I'm starting to think Myrtle and Trinity are the same person. They might be. That's assuming she's not. Oh man. Terrazon here brings us back to sanity and says, I liked Venom. I think Morbius will be good. And I think I'm right there with you, Tara. Like, the Venom movie, I did like it. Is it the best movie out there? No. I will tell you the biggest problem that the Venom movie has is that movie, Sony needed to shit or get off the pot on that movie. Make it a rated R movie or not. Just do it. One or the other. Because they tried to toe the line too much between the two. They should have just made it rated R. They should have. And everything would have just been fine. Because it would have been, they could have toned up they could have brought the violence up a little bit. And, and some of that stuff. And because they already had the language there, for Christ's sakes. You know what I'm saying? They already had the language there. Morbius, I think Morbius is going to be good too. I'm not really jazzed about Morbius. I'm more looking forward to Wonder Woman 1984 and Black Widow than I am Morbius. But I think Morbius will still be good. I'm looking forward to it being good. And yeah, Spider-Verse rocked. Yeah, I thought Spider-Verse was a pretty good movie. I liked Venom too, but like Harley, it could have been better. Exactly. But it wasn't as bad as Harley. Yeah, true. Venom 2 looks better. Yeah, I was gonna say, I've seen they've got some of the set photo leaks and everything. I haven't really looked into those, but yeah, I'm sure Venom 2 will be better. Especially with what's his name? They're directing, man. He's great. He's a talented guy. Why all of a sudden did I forget his name? Because I think him and his studio, I think they helped develop that video game Heavenly Sword for PlayStation. I'm pretty sure he did. Andy Serkis. I'm pretty sure there was his company that helped develop Heavenly Sword over there for PlayStation. I don't get the Spider-Verse love. Probably in my top 10 for 2019 though. Yeah. I mean, Spider-Verse, it was good. Oh my god, it happened again. An ad popped up when you talked about ads. What the F is happening? It's like I'm magical, right? It's not like I put them things in there. Anyway. I pay for Google Music so I don't see ads. Yeah, I was gonna say, and I pay for the YouTube Premium so I don't see ads, but I can also download videos on my phone so I can listen to them while I drive without having to take up all my what I'm talking about, data. My data. Well, I've got unlimited data too, but you know what I'm saying. What do you think would be the worst case for DC publishing? Says Star Wars Santa. I mean, that they stop making comic books. I mean, honestly, Are they gonna stop making comic books? I don't think so. I think I mean they still do pretty good, make decent comic books, and they still as far as I know they still getting some pretty decent sales. But when it comes down to it, is it more is it a liability? Yeah. I think what they could do as easily as anybody, as easily as Marvel, is scale back the amount of titles they're doing. Like scale that back. Try to produce better comic books for people to read. And for me, I think that one of the biggest things with comic books is in the industry is keeping up with the times, just like Blockbuster Video. You know what I'm saying? Just like Blockbuster Video, how they kind of fell. It was funny because I was talking with Young Ripper 59 when we streamed together a few months ago. That Blockbuster could have had they could have won. They could like everything. They could still be around. All they had to do was streamline their stores. They had all the stock setting on shelves. All they had to do was make a little kiosk that would dispense the movies where you could return your movies and things like that. And I mean, and still been in business. They could have scaled down the size of their stores where you could still go in and buy stuff and still kind of have a store experience, and then have a kiosk there, or just go to or they could be the ones running the kiosk now instead of Redbox. You know what I'm saying? So there's all those different things. They could probably have kiosks that sell the snacks and things inside of them just the same as you used to buy them there inside the place. The little buckets with the little popcorn thing. They could still be doing all that because they chose not to keep up with the times. Something I've been talking about a lot that we kind of talked there as well. With things like Target and Sears and J.C. Penney's, all these different companies. When Amazon comes around and online sales they're trying at this point they're trying to keep up. Where I think is a simple solution for a place like Walmart, they just don't know how to implement it because they got the suits involved who are not there doing they're used to doing things the old school style. You got to keep up with the times, and I think that's one of the things. Like we see independent publishers out there still making comic books and still doing decent sales. I mean, they know what they can do and they know what they're going to do. Like Vault Comics is one of my favorite independent comic book publishers. They're a small press publisher, and I think that at this point they kind of know what kind of sales to expect out of each title that they put out. Impact Theory Comics is getting ready to put out their second title. They just have to be smart about what they're doing. We can see that there's also people out there doing Indiegogos, Kickstarters, and things like that who are running very successful campaigns. There are people out there doing this, making their own independent comic books. So I think the thing is really what DC and even Marvel need to do is they need to think about their business model and what they're doing. Plus, the other thing these guys just don't know how to do is advertise their comic books. They are not good at it. I watch a lot of the videos that comes from Marvel Entertainment here on YouTube, and a lot of the videos are very cringy. Like they did one for this thing where Agent M was breaking down this stuff, and they had a guy on there interrogating him. He's sitting there sweating, and it was like the cheesiest, stupidest thing that I've ever seen. Where I go and watch Thinking Critical, or I watch Rod the Rican and the show that from Just a Rican and his comics, some of the shows that they do, where they're just sitting around talking about comic books, and I'm like, these guys get me more hyped to want to read a comic book than these publishers do. I think that's really what a lot of the problem is they're not good at pushing their own products. I think mostly for the mere fact that maybe they're not the fans that are actually reading them. They need to look towards the fans and help and take some of that into consideration. But worst case scenario, I mean, they stop publishing. I don't think, and maybe I was watching Josh from on the Den of Nerds Live today, and he was saying, maybe they start optioning out some of their characters to different studios to make some of that money back, in order to recuperate some money. And they could certainly do that as well. But as far as them... I think that's probably the worst case scenario. I mean, are they going to close their doors? I doubt it, because they've still got these characters that are worth a lot, and they can. I mean, they're still getting comic book sales. The thing is can they get better comic book sales? And I think the answer is yes. And most of that comes just through with good storytelling. What it always comes down to. Like I said, there's independent comic book publishers out there that are still making it in this in this current comic book climate, I guess you could say. Fanjexter says, Am I the only plebe who doesn't pay for YouTube Premium then? No, I doubt it. I mean, I wouldn't if it wasn't for the fact that I like watching a lot of videos while I'm out working. I download videos and just listen to them while I'm working. That's the only reason I do it. is, I mean, it's not so much the ads thing. The ads thing a little bit, but also so I could download those things here on here. Sony is ruining the Peter Rabbit. Respect the source material. The way they used Jeremiah Puddle Duck was Rose Tico all over again. It's effing bullshit. And you know the thing, aggressively relaxing. You're being funny there, but you're actually right though. You're right, and we need to start a campaign against it. The Godfather of the Fandom Menace here will let you know. This is the Godfather. Aggressively relaxing is, in case you guys didn't know. Over easy mode, thank you for being here. Says, hey, what's up, Trinity? Is it true? Gay Spider-Man. No. The thing is I've seen some of those clickbait videos and some of these sites running with this story again, and it's something that Tom Holland said in an interview that he never actually said that. And apparently there's some interview going around. I didn't try to track that one down about Andrew Garfield wanting to come in and be, the gay Spider-Man. I don't know, man. A lot of these things come out in publications like We Got This Covered, and people just run with it. You know what I'm saying? So that's where you got to go to the source of where these things come from and decide for yourself if this is a legit, reliable source. Now, Kevin Feige, as far as him quitting Marvel, there's this new story going around that Mark Ruffalo has been talking about. I can't even remember what it was. I read the story here. Where's my phone? I didn't bring my phone. It's not here with me. But I seen that apparently in some sort of interview, or maybe it was at an award show. Who knows, man? Mark Ruffalo, you know how that guy is, dude. That dude's kind of a weirdie. He's always saying stupid stuff. But the thing is, he was saying in this interview, or or whatnot, that Kevin Feige at one point when they were making, I think it was when they were making, did they say Age of Ultron? Was talking about like, hey, I'm pushing for this to bring, Ike Perlmutter doesn't believe that we can sell these movies with a strong female, with a female lead, or with black superheroes and all this kinds of stuff. And I'm at a fight with him. So if I'm not here, and I'm fighting for that, and if we can't do that, then I'm quitting. And so basically, if you don't see me here tomorrow, you know that it didn't happen. But if you see me here tomorrow, you know that we've won. And now he's got this nice little cute anecdote that everybody is obviously going to take and pick apart. And the thing is there any? I mean, sure, Mark Ruffalo says this, but it's kind of like a lot of things, like a lot of situations I could think of out there. To when you got somebody sitting there barking and nipping at your ankles, you sit there and you say something to make them feel better. You say something to pacify them, make them feel better, make them be quiet. Maybe you give your puppy dog a dog biscuit. That's what this story honestly sounds like to me. The way that he's telling the story, like Kevin Feige's like, yeah, guys, like I'm making a stand right here, and if they won't let us do it, I'm quitting. I'm quitting Marvel Studios, the very studios that I'm the president of. I'm just going to quit it. And if you see me here tomorrow, know that we won. I stuck to my guns and we won, damn it. I don't know. How does that sound like to you? Because that's what this story is. This was an anecdote from Mark Ruffalo saying that Kevin Feige was out there fighting for those things and he was going to quit Marvel Studios. Do you guys believe that story? I mean, do you... Seriously. I mean, do you believe the story that Kevin Feige went and told Mark Ruffalo that if he can't bring female superheroes in and female-led superhero movies into the MCU, or bring things like Black Panther in, that he was going to quit Marvel Studios? And if you see me here tomorrow, you know that we won. That I won and I got my way. I mean, do you really believe that? Let me know down in the comments. I just want to know, honestly. Does that sound... Okay, for one, does it sound possible? I think it sounds possible. But two, do you think that really happens? Like, Kevin Feige is the president of Marvel Studios. You think he was just going to be like, well, they won't let me do this. I'm going to quit. That's how adults act. You know what I mean? Or does this sound like a story that maybe a producer tells one of their higher profile actors and says, yeah, of course, man. Of course, we're going to fight for that. We'll bring in these heroes. Or do you think He just said that, I mean, I think he just told him this story knowing that he had plans to bring in some of these characters anyway, and that he's been producing these good movies and that things were on the up and up, that it was going to happen anyway. To me, that's what it sounds more like. I think to me that's what I envision Kevin Feige more being like. I know this stuff is coming anyway. This actor's like, I know how to keep this stuff on an even keel. You know what I mean? I know how to tell people, to pacify people, get them to hear what they want to hear, and without lying about it. Because I mean, if he told him this, he's not lying about it. Because he did want to bring in Black Panther, he did want to bring in Captain Marvel and some of these characters. He already had plans of it. You know what I mean? But you know what I'm saying? Like, there are times when you're in these leadership positions where you tell somebody what they need to hear, to maybe have a good day, or, a good day on set or whatnot. You tell people what they want to hear. And it's not that you're lying to them. It's not that you're lying. I mean, you tell them what they want to hear so to make them feel better, even though you already got stuff planned and in the works. You know what I mean? Like, I think Kevin Feige would have had all this planned out, and he had actually no intentions of quitting or anything like that. Now, did he have some discussions with Ike Perlmutter about bringing in female superheroes and, black superheroes like Black Panther and stuff like that? I'm sure that he did. I'm very sure that he did. But I just wanted to talk about that one too, because I've seen a whole lot of people running with those these stories that Kevin Feige was gonna quit Marvel. He was gonna quit Marvel. I just don't know. I find that hard to believe, because like this is what he's been doing he's been doing this thing for Marvel for longer than the MCU has been around. Okay, he's been helping with the cartoons. He's been helping with the Fox X-Men stuff. Like, he's been around that long doing this stuff. Helping produce these things. So I doubt he was just going to throw it all away, or that he really had to go in there and arm wrestle that much and say that we can do this and be successful, and that it was ever going to be a problem to where he had to threaten to quit Marvel Studios to do this. So while the story is coming out, and there's probably it's being I mean, let's look at this, guys. Is Mark Ruffalo a super reliable source? I'll wait. I'll wait for the answer. Is Mark Ruffalo a reliable source? The thing is he's not. Obviously, we all know that. We all know the stories of Mark Ruffalo. Like I said, is this story 100% false? Probably not. Is it 100% true? Definitely not. I don't feel that it is. I think it's just a whole bunch of fake news. So I don't know, but that's if you ask me. I just don't see Kevin Feige, the man that he is, the position that he's in, and things like that, having to really go to bat too hard for these things after even at the point of Age of Ultron. I doubt he had to do a whole lot of convincing to do a female-led superhero movie or bring in Black Panther and things like that. Did he have to go in there and argue for it? Yeah, I'm sure he did. I'm sure he had to go in there and argue for some of that. But how hard is that to argue? I mean, you did the Blade movies. They did the Blade movies back in the 90s. Yeah, they did the Blade movies. Those were good movies. Those were successful movies. So did you have to argue about bringing in Black Panther that hard? No. Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel Studios, probably didn't have to threaten to quit or arm wrestle that hard to bring in Black Panther. The success and everything else, like with like even coming in with like Captain Marvel, or bringing in Scarlet Witch, or the Black Widow movie and all that stuff. I doubt he had to go to bat very much for that, let alone threaten to quit Marvel. Again, I think these are all clickbait headlines being made out there, and rightfully so, because people got to get those clicks and get you on their videos and stuff. But also, this interview coming from Mark Ruffalo. I mean, this is Mark Ruffalo we're talking about. I do not put very much stock into what Mark Ruffalo says. Should I? Absolutely not. Should you? Absolutely not. Have you followed this man's Twitter? Jesus Christ. Of course not, guys. Again, this is Mark Ruffalo. So anyway, guys, I think once again, these are rumors. This is fake news and stuff out there that's going around the interwebs about Feige was going to quit Marvel now. Just like Marvel's going to buy DC. Man, I don't know. Marvel. I think Marvel has their own problems as far as like publishing comic books. That they're in no position to really buy out DC and take that stuff over. I just don't think they're in that position to. Let alone considering that's Disney that we're talking about here, and they would have that monopoly to go there. And that's when, like I was saying earlier, would come down to that thing with the government intervention, where they're saying, "Can we allow this purchase to happen? You know, can we allow this purchase to happen?" And I think that the answer is no. I think the answer is no. Let's see. Sorry, I fell behind here on the chat again. Fanjester says, "I'm having Pickle. Nope. Don't really have a need for the features other than skipping ads." Oh yeah, and see, and I do because I like to, I get it though. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't spend the $15 a month if I didn't feel that it was worth it. But also, it allows me to not watch the ads, and the creators still get their money out of me paying for no ads. They still get that same amount of money, but I think they track it a little differently. But on mobile, you can lock your phone and keep listening. Worth its weight. Yeah, I was gonna say, for me too, Maverick Program. That's how I am too. I like being able to shut it off and all that stuff. But I also like to be able to download the videos so I don't have to use all my data while I'm out working and stuff like that. I used to love working at Blockbuster, says due to reviews. Oh yeah, I bet you that would be a cool job. Hey, dude, that's how Quentin Tarantino got his start, was working at a place like that. That was kind of a joke. I'm sure we've all heard those stories. Chaos and Comics says, "Yeah, Maverick, that phone stuff is important for me too." Yeah, me too. That's why I do it. Oh shit, jury has reached a verdict on Harvey Weinstein case. Oh really? Oh dang. What was it? I didn't see that. I didn't see that. Fanjecture. What did they say, man? Are you gonna make me check my Twitter live here on air about Harvey Weinstein? Crazy. Maverick Pim, I have unlimited data, so that's why I never felt the need for that. But I do agree it's a nice feature. Yeah, it is. Aggressively Relaxing says, "I don't know, Chaos. The smartest thing for DC's parent company is definitely quit making promotional material. People pay $4 for and piss off the people that watch their movies." Man, I don't know. Maybe that's just me. It was a little. Oh. I must have missed part of the conversation there. Let's see. Okay, let's see here. We're getting. Okay, where's this at? We gotta go to search. We gotta check trending. Ooh. Harvey Weinstein found guilty. Yes. But ultimately, guys, justice still is not served. Okay. We're not getting into that. But while this is a small victory, justice in these kinds of things just can't really be served. Found guilty on 2 counts: first-degree sexual assault and third-degree rape. Again, like I said, justice can never really be served when it comes to these kinds of things. That's all I can really say is true justice can't be served because the person who has been wronged, the victim here can never be made right. There is no real true justice in these things for me, regardless. Even death sentence, that still doesn't do it for me. Even though people like this deserve that, that still isn't justice in itself, because for me the injustice has already been done. So there's reaching no real justice, there's no real good ending to this. You know what I mean? But that is still good that he got found guilty. Aggressively says, "I keep trying to get the Phantom Menace to be upset about Anne of Green Gables remake on Twitter, but they just cuss me out." Oh man, you know what? And that is a travesty. You know what? Aggressively, I think we need to get together and do a video about that, because this is a travesty, and I think we need to get more people on board with you. Longbox Diving, thank you so much for being here. I do, but it's more about Feige versus Perlmutter. Okay, so you do believe this. Okay. AFK Bar says BS story. I think for the most part, a lot of the story is BS, but I think there might be a little bit of truth to it. This sounds like an offhand hyperbolic comment taken out of context. Well, the interview I seen, it wasn't really taken out of context, but what Mark Ruffalo, the way he made it sound, sounded preposterous. I just don't see Kevin Feige in the position he's in saying, I'm quitting Marvel Studios if we can't make these movies. Did him and Ike Perlmutter have, some back and forth about making these movies? Yeah, I'm sure of that. I'm sure. I don't think the story of quitting in that way is true. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think again, yeah, like Maverick Pilgrim says, taken out of context, absolutely. Fanjextra says, yeah, Mark could have easily misunderstood him. Ruffalo is a leaker, not a thinker. Right, yes, absolutely. Fanjextra says, Feige was extremely handcuffed by Perlmutter. It's why there was a huge corporate restructuring after the blow-up. He wanted to do all these things but at the time, Perlmutter was the final say. Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's what I say. I think there was some back and forth, but as far as to the point where Kevin Feige was gonna quit Marvel Studios, I think that's way blown out of proportion. I think regardless, Feige was going to win that one, just off the success, the repeated success that he had already even had at that point when they were doing Age of Ultron. They had repeated success, so you have absolutely zero reason for saying no to taking one risk. Because every risk he had taken up to that point had paid off. Every single one up to that point. But yeah, I mean, and then like I said, that's not to say that them going back and having back and forth is false. I think they did have back and forth. Ruffalo's getting on my nerves. Bring back Ed Norton, right? Yeah, I like Ed Norton. It'd be crazy to get both of them, right? Get both of them in there. We have, yeah. I love Bruce though. Ruffalo is full of it. I love Bruce though. Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, like I said, I think the story is easily twisted. You know what I mean? It's easily twisted to however you want it to sound. Exactly, Fanjextra. What are you guys talking about? This all tracks with Feige's politics and Perlmutter's well-documented position. I mean, yeah, it does do that too. Fanjextra says, I'm quite sure Feige was being coy with Ruffalo, and since Ruffalo's interview was in print, not video, we don't know the tone, but there was a lot of tension between Feige and Oh, yeah, there was, yeah. There's no denying that. I just think, right, yeah, I think like you're saying there, Fanjextra, I'm sure he was being coy with, yeah, I'm sure he was. Like I said, at the time, he's probably saying things to pacify the star, to get him to go out and just film the goddamn movie and give me your best performance. That's all I want. Just don't worry. That's what it is. Don't worry about it. Forget about it. But yeah, you're right. Snowdub says the rich do not understand what it's like to struggle. That's why they can't complain about stuff like climate change, right? While they're on their jets, their private jets. A certain Nerdalot says it still weirds me out seeing Ruffalo in Eternal Sunshine. I haven't seen that movie in a long time, but you know what, Ruffalo, man, I'm telling you, have you ever seen Spotlight? Dude, I'm telling you, Spotlight is a freaking fantastic movie, and Ruffalo's great in it. Also, 13 going on 30. Whiskey, Stills, and Tumbleweed says the biggest issue is probably that the suits and bigwigs had never heard of Black Panther. Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, that's probably the biggest thing. Aggressively says there was a war over control of Marvel that Feige won reportedly with talks of walking. I thought we all watched nerd news stuff. Yes, yeah, I was gonna say they did have some of that stuff going on, but was it ever a thing that Kevin Feige was going to quit? To me, I just can't believe that story. That he was going to quit, like he was going to quit. That I find very hard to swallow. Did they have talks and were there debates and things like that? Did they have heated discussions? I'm sure of it. I'm sure of that. I'm not denying that. But the thing that Kevin Feige was going to quit, like, I don't think he was ever going to quit. Not with the history of things that he's done, not with all the work that he's put in. You don't just quit and walk away from things like that, especially when you've been on successes. You just don't walk away and quit. What you do is you go out and you prove what you have done, what can be successful, and you go out and do exactly what Kevin Feige done. So that's what I mean. Like I said, was there tensions? Yeah, certainly, certainly. Weinstein faces 25 years. That's child's play. Child's play. That's nothing. That's nothing. Like I said, no true justice. No true justice can be served here. Um, and due to reviews, says throw his ass in jail. I will tell you, I am absolutely 100% against that. But that comes down to a different discussion and me being pretty much against incarceration. Because I believe there is a better solution for people like this that does not include jail time and keeping them housed in a closed facility for longer than needs to. All you need to do is just people like this shouldn't be walking the earth. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say. And really, even doing that, even eliminating them from the face of the earth, still doesn't undo the injustice that has already been done. So, but as far as keeping him in jail, no, I'm against. I'm against incarceration myself. Like I said, we're not here to get into that discussion though. But I'm against incarceration for the most part. I'm pretty much against incarceration. Um, Chaos and Comics says my clone is here. Renee Ramon says found guilty. Yes, definitely a good thing. Um, I also liked Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu Hulk. Norton is awesome. Yeah, definitely. Over Easy Mode says they totally have Ed Norton as Gray or Red Hulk. Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, that would be cool. Norton is a great actor. Ruffalo. Norton is a great actor. Ruffalo is actually a good actor too. Ruffalo is a good actor. I will give him that. Ruffalo is still a good actor. I'm not sure if you guys follow me on Twitter, but you can go follow me at Second Street Marvel. But the other day I posted this thing yesterday. I was watching this live stream. You guys, I'm always lurking in live streams. I'm always watching videos. Like I'm not always like leaving comments and all that stuff. But I'm telling you, I was watching this stream the other day, and somebody actually in this live stream said that Gal Gadot has better acting chops than Natalie Portman. yeah. And I'm like, no. And that was my post. Was like, somebody actually said this, and I just said, stick to thumb sucking. If you actually believe for 1 second that Gal Gadot is a better actress than Natalie Portman, that she has better acting chops than Natalie Portman, I'm telling you flat out, you're wrong. Gal Gadot barely has any acting chops. She can't emote. She's not, like, she is not, Gal Gadot is a beautiful woman, and she is an okay actress. She's okay. The only reason that they pulled off Wonder Woman is because of Patty Jenkins. Patty Jenkins was able to play to her strengths in that movie. Gal Gadot is not a great actress. She's not a good actor, okay? She's decent. She's not terrible. I'm not saying she's bad. She's decent. But Natalie Portman is head and shoulders. Like, not even head and shoulders. She towers above Gal Gadot in acting talent. In every way. In every way. There's not even a comparison. There's not even a comparison of the two. You know, it's not even apples and oranges. It's freaking onions and apples. You know what I'm saying? That's their acting ability. It's night and day. It's almost not even night and day. That's how big of a difference is. AFK Bard says Wonder Woman was better than Jane. As far as what though? We're talking about characters in movies. You know, we're talking about characters in movies here, not actual acting ability. Gal Gadot's acting ability is nowhere near what Natalie Portman's is. We could argue all day whether Wonder Woman was a better movie than the first Thor movie, or Thor: The Dark World, or better than the prequel films that she was in. We could argue that all day. That is not the argument. The argument here is that Natalie Portman is a way better actress than Gal Gadot. Like Gal Gadot, like I said, she's not bad. She's not terrible. She's just not a great actress. She's decent. She's decent. Her chops, her acting ability and things like that, they're just not there. Now, like I said, I'm not saying she's terrible, but she needs to grow in those things, and I'm hoping we see more of that come to this Wonder Woman film, this next Wonder Woman film. But she needs to be in a position where she's taking off tougher roles, where she gets to develop those with good directors who can bring that out of her. I'm not saying that she has the potential to be a great actress, but she's not there yet. I mean, she's barely at good, like she's decent. She's decent. Her acting ability is nowhere near Natalie Portman's. Natalie Portman's actual acting ability is way higher than Gal Gadot's. And like I said, that's not to say that Gal Gadot isn't talented and can't be better. It's just saying that Natalie Portman, like this thumb sucker, is just 100% wrong. It's just 100% wrong. That Natalie Portman is the better actress here, hands down, hands down. Ruffalo was good in Zodiac. Yeah, he was good in Zodiac. And I've only seen that movie once, and it was like when that first came out. I need to watch that one again. I agree about incarceration and injustice. Oh yeah. Smart train, you all heart. Yeah, and that's what I say. Like, because there's been such a huge injustice here done. Justice can't be found for that person. Even the death penalty for this turd doesn't bring about any kind of true justice because the injustice has already been done. I agree. I much prefer excommunication. Why can't we build a real vault? If it's good enough for supervillains, it's good enough for regular villains. For one, people shouldn't be locked in cages. And two, if somebody's that bad to lock them up for years and years and years on end, we need to do one of two things. But really, ultimately, it means shit or get off the toilet. And that's really all I'm going to go into, because other than that, we're getting into discussion here that's not necessarily movie related, right? Whiskey Stills says Gal is easier on the eyes, though. I don't know. I think both of them are beautiful. I think Gal Gadot is beautiful as well as Natalie Portman is. I think they're both very beautiful women. So there's that. I mean, as far as that's concerned. But yeah, I mean, if you like Gal Gadot more than Natalie Portman, you think she's more beautiful. Yeah, certainly, and that's an opinion. I can't knock you for that, because like I said, Gal Gadot is a very beautiful woman. Same as I think Natalie Portman is. Gal Gadot should play the girl mouse with an accent in a Disney Rescuers sequel. You're funny aggressively. A Duder says, not a fan of either actress. And that's fair enough. I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that feel the same way. Jane barely emoted. Could have been bad directing. Yeah, I was going to say, it could have been bad. It could have been bad directing. There's a whole lot of things that when it comes down to it, just kind of, comes down to it. Like I said, in that particular role, could she have done better? Yeah. I think there's directing. I also think that it was one of the first films of the MCU when they were still building it. Maybe they didn't quite know what they were wanting to do with it. And that's not to say that, God, who was it that directed that first Thor film? We all know, Sir. Oh man, he's Sirred. He's been Sirred. Man, why am I all of a sudden forgetting his name? Because he's a good director. He's actually even a really good actor too. And he's a pretty good director as well. He's a pretty good director too. But yeah, I do see what you're saying there. But about Jane barely emoting, I hear what you're saying there. Fatal J, thank you so much for being here. Says Natalie Portman is better. Gal Gadot never been in a film to show off her acting skills, and that's really ultimately what I'm talking about. And I'm not saying that she's bad. Just she needs to do more of those films like that. I mean, and it comes from doing a range of films too, not just dramatic roles. It also probably comes from doing comedic roles and different things like that. Learning timing, learning the emoting, and just all those different things. But yeah. I mean, Natalie Portman is the better actor. But like, that's not to say that Gal Gadot can't be as good. Comparing Gal to Natalie is apple and oranges. The real question is, who is better, Natalie Portman or Anne Hathaway? Again, that comes down to who you like more. Like Natalie Portman and I like Natalie Portman more. I think she's a better actor, but Anne Hathaway is actually really good too. Anne Hathaway is good. I can't take that from her, because Anne Hathaway is a good actor as well. Aggressively relaxing says, I don't know, Fanjexter. Picture Dr. Octopus hearing the Weinstein story and saying, whoa, that is super dark. That dude is definitely a super villain. Aggressively funny. Over Easy Mode says, I agree, Natalie Portman is way better than Gal Gadot, but I was never impressed with Natalie Portman's performances. I think it kind of depends. It depends on what you're watching her in, definitely. Definitely. It does definitely depend on what you're watching her in, for sure. Yeah, I'll agree. I'll agree. And I'm not saying that Natalie Portman is like the greatest actress out there either. I'm not saying that she's the greatest, but she is definitely has way more chops than Gal Gadot does at this point. At this point. AFK Bard says Natalie is awesome, but she played Jane bad. Bad direction and bland character. Yeah, I think so as well. I can't disagree with that. Aggressively says Natalie Portman would destroy all these actresses in a rap battle, as long as the writers at SNL are writing it. Longbox Diving says, what he did can never be made right. Absolutely. It can never be made right. Absolutely, 100%. Can never be made right. Nerdy Blurb TV says, love Portman in so many movies, but Thor felt weird for her to be in and still be in. Absolutely. Kenneth Branagh. Yeah, there we go. Kenneth Branagh. I remember it. Sir Kenneth Branagh. Nerdy Blurb TV says, I feel like Thor 1 was when they started to feel like they had an idea of what they wanted to. Right, yeah. That's when they started kind of got their footing for Thor 1. Because then after that was Captain America. And I think Captain America the First Avenger is a great film. That movie is a good one. I don't care what anybody says, how anybody feels about it. Captain America the First Avenger is still a great movie. It's a great movie. Especially for being a time period piece, you know what I mean? Sir Nerdala says, yes, cryogenic sleep and reprogram to better fit society. Aggressively Relaxed says, bad directing. We are talking about Kenneth Branagh. Thor was awesome. You folk need to get off the sauce. Yeah, well, that doesn't mean, just because he's a great director doesn't mean that he couldn't have directed an actor wrong, or because we've certainly seen great directors have bad films. Is Thor 1 a bad film? No. Is it a great film? No. It's a good film. It's a good film. It's a good film. Whiskey Stills and Tumbleweed says, Portman does have the chops. Been acting since she was a kid. Yes, definitely. A Dude Review says, yes, the first Avenger is one of my favorites. Yeah, I think, the first Avenger is a really good one. Who was it? Joe Johnson? Isn't that Joe Johnson that did that one? Did a really good job with that one. Come on, you got Tommy Lee Jones in there. But yeah, I really like the first Avenger and everything it did. Obviously, Winter Soldier is probably the best one, but we still got plenty of movies getting ready to come up. But anyway, guys, it looks like we've gone a little over an hour here, guys. So yeah, I guess to recap, one of the things I was saying, make sure that you guys get out and make sure that you watch those ads if they pop up. If you don't have super chats to send in, or you don't want to send in direct donations via Streamlabs, where you can find links down in the description, or you don't want to become a monthly Patreon supporter, just make sure that you watch those ads, because that's if you can't send in super chats or you don't want to, hey, watching the ads is just as good and just as important. So to recap, guys, it's Monday. If you guys have things that you want to do, if you have goals in life that you want to do, you got to come up with a plan. One of the things I was talking about right at the top was you got to have a roadmap. You got to have a roadmap for success. You got to know where you're going. You got to know how to set goals along the way so you can measure your success if you're going to hit and reach your goals, and how to sidestep and continue to work through any kinds of things that come up, because all kinds of things come up when you're on a journey, and that's one thing that you definitely need to do. We also talked a little bit about all these rumors going back around now, coming out again after this interview that happened last year with Tom Holland and Spider-Man being gay in an upcoming Sony movie or Spider-Man movie. This thing was stuff that was answered by Tom Holland. He was set up in a question, and he really only gave the logical response to the question that he was asked, and he was pretty much just asked, could he ever see Spider-Man being gay in a film? And the logical answer is yes, because it's 100% completely possible. He never said it was going to happen. And then obviously we've got these stories about this thing going around out there with this interview or whatnot that Mark Ruffalo, and I read it. It was, you know, in this this interview. I got links. I can drop them here in the description later. That he, or maybe I'll just put it in the comments section, that Kevin Feige was going to quit Marvel Studios. He's the president of Marvel Studios. Was he ever going to quit? I doubt it. Did they have some debates, him and Ike Perlmutter, about making some of these films? Yeah, I believe that. I believe that. But I also said, you know, I also think that a lot of the context to what Mark Ruffalo had said is probably being taken out of context here, and a lot of people are going to blow it up and get a whole lot of views and a whole lot of clicks based off this one thing, because we all know how great Mark Ruffalo is for leaking stuff out there, right? But anyway, guys, thank you all so much for being here today. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, you know, like button and all of that good stuff. I really do greatly appreciate it. You guys have been awesome today. I'm gonna have some more comic book reviews coming up very soon. I got all my books read last week, except for one book that I've kind of been, I don't know, it's just been a busy weekend that I kind of put off, and that is Deceased Unkillables issue #1. I've heard a lot of people say how great this book is. This is the last one I have to read from last week, so make sure you guys stay tuned to the channel for more comic book reviews and things like that, getting ready to come up new soon. And don't forget that this Wednesday is New Comic Book Wednesday, just like every other single Wednesday out throughout the year. So make sure you go check it out. Sylvester M says, "Is John C. Maxwell an amazing writer? I love his books." Yeah. He is a great writer. I read a lot of his books. I've probably got easily 6, 7, 8 John Maxwell books. Good stuff. But thank you all so much for being here. You all have a very good day, and we'll see you in the next video. Later.